Thank you.
David Shearer.
I'd like to take a quick call on this bill that Labor opposes. So the only two times I can recall the Prime Minister actually mentioning human rights was the other day when he accused those who didn't support his sending troops into Iraq as not somehow supporting human rights. I can't understand quite how he got that, came to that conclusion. It was the same week that it was revealed that he had asked President Rajapaksa, the man who was president of Sri Lanka and was responsible for not looking at why 50,000 Tamils happened to die in Sri Lanka during the war, the latter stages of the war, and why Mr Key was inviting him to New Zealand to watch the Cricket World Cup. He wasn't re-elected, and so he's not coming. The second time he mentioned it, sir, was during the GCSB bill, when he told the Human Rights Commission that they needed to pull their socks up, that what they were saying did not agree with what he was saying. This is an independent organisation that is tasked to give independent advice and information, and they were quite within their rights in that particular context to come to the conclusions that they did. Sir, that is part of what I believe this bill is doing, which is eroding our standing in human rights. We are taking away two of the most important human rights commissioners, the Commissioner of Equal Opportunities, and we need it in this country because we can actually see the gender pay gap, for example, widening. We're also taking away the race relations conciliator, the Race Relations Commissioner, sir, in the person of Susan Devoy. So if there is one issue, one human rights commissioner that is needed, it is that. And that is the reason why the Council of Multicultural Organisations came out in opposition of this. In Auckland, 50% of our population now will be non-European in the next 10 years. This is one area where at least people can have some solace and some confidence that we at least are standing up for them, and we're taking that away. The third thing that I want to mention, sir, apart from the Equal Opportunities Commission, the Race Relations Commissioner being removed, is that under this legislation, the Human Rights Commission will have to come up with a work plan to put in front of the Minister to get the Minister's sign-off in order for them to be able to go forward. Sir, that, I believe, violates the Paris principles on which this Human Rights Commission is founded. We should not have to allow our Human Rights Commissioner to go to a minister to get permission in order for it to be able to have that work plan approved. So it is touted, this piece of legislation is touted by the government as being a means of improving its efficiency, as if it's some sort of market that needs to be more efficient. Sir, it's not a market, but what we will be seeing is a lessening of the number of staff, a lessening of the ability for the Commission to have real focus on the issues that really matter. It will reduce the visibility of the office from what it is today, and it will reduce public confidence that they will be able to go to the Human Rights Commission and get real defence and backing for what they believe is discrimination across a number of areas. Instead, we'll have an amorphous group of people, understaffed and unable to carry out the functions that they have been able to carry out up to now. So this is not something that is broken. It's not broken. We don't need to fix it. We need to get behind it. We need to make sure that it does conform with the Paris principles, that it is fully independent, that it can discharge its duties as it should do with regard to race relations. That is so important in places like Auckland, where I am, and that it does stand up for equal opportunities, that it is not eroded by the lessening of the number of staff, sir, that it does its job properly. And, sir, this will not allow it to do its job properly. This will simply weaken what we have today and not stand up for what we need in this country. Thanks, sir.
Dr. Parmjit Parmar.